Hello everyone, welcome back for another book review. So today we are talking about this book. So this is Cunningham's Magical Sampler, Collected Writings and Spells of the Renowned Wiccan Author. The foreword is by Raymond Buckland. So this book I did read once before, eons ago. I think I had read this in 2015, but I reread it. And this book, honestly, in the age that we're in now, I feel like it was like the precursor to modern Wiccan, witchcraft, pagan teachers. Because in a lot of ways, this book really is like the written form of what a lot of YouTube channels, TikTok accounts, Facebook pages are about. But of course, Scott Cunningham had a very intense research way to do things. He'd research a bunch of stuff and then he'd try it out himself, which is one of the reasons I love his work. If it didn't come from a historical reference, then he was trying it out himself, and that's something I really appreciate in his work. That way you don't get too bogged down with a bunch of repetitive ways. He tries out a lot of different stuff. This, it reads like if you would take a social media account, it would read just like that. It's a variety of topics. And again, these are just a collection of his writings. I think they mostly came from the almanacs, like Llewellyn's magical almanacs from like when it first began. Him and Raymond, they talked about how they were like kind of the first two doing it, and then eventually it kind of picked up speed. But they wrote a lot of articles. And I feel like these articles easily could have been translated into video content. That wasn't a thing when Scott was alive. But I feel like if he had lived in the era we're in now, he definitely would have been able to do a lot more. And with that in mind, it was like, yeah, like these topics easily could be different YouTube videos or different posts or whatever. Of course, that wasn't the intention, but if you look at, like, that's just how I constantly have always looked at this book. Every time, maybe it's because that's what I do, and so I look at it because that's how I am currently running my life, is I think of topics and I outline them just like he used to outline his books, but for video topics. And you research the video topic and you try it out and you research it yourself and then you post it. And I just feel like that's what Scott would have been really good at if he could have made it to the social era. At least we do have this. Now, it is really nice to have it all in one book instead of having to go and find really old copies of the almanacs that his writing was a part of. To be honest, I don't know how easily accessible that would be right now, but this is still in print. It's really easy to find. Honestly, if you like Scott Cunningham's work and you want just a little bit more and just kind of the more random little things he wrote about, definitely get a copy. Overall, I definitely really loved this book. In the last one that I read, I mentioned that I didn't love it, that it didn't feel like his normal works. This does. This feels like a Cunningham book. It has his writing style, it has his general demeanor, the way he writes, it's for everybody. Again, it's really more aimed at the solitary people, just kind of, you don't have a coven, but here's some work for you that you could try out on your own. Different spells, rituals, recipes, all sorts of things are in here. So if you want a Cunningham book, definitely grab this one. It isn't like the last one where it didn't feel like a Cunningham book, and even some of the other ones that I've read recently where it's like, oh my god, it doesn't feel like one of his books. This does. This is a Cunningham book. And the ending is sweet. It's fun to get to read the random little tales from other people being like, hey, did you know this about him? Like, this is some random stuff. Like, the end of this book is from his roommate, and just hearing about the crazy little stuff that he would do, like leaving half-filled water glasses between the kitchen and his room. There's a living room in between, and you just find glasses constantly, especially when he was hyper-focused on a project. And it's like just little stuff like that, or how he would take index cards and outline in their living room, and that's how he would outline his books. Because obviously it was well before the internet and computers and how they are now, and he could probably just have an app to do it nowadays, but like just the little details of that you're just like, aw, look at him go. And like, just little stuff like that. Like, it's so fun to get to hear these stories of how he was as an actual person, not just what he chose to write and what his editors approved and stuff, but like him as a person. It's just really fun to get to read these little side stories. and get to know him just a little bit better, because he was such a cool dude. I wish I could have met him. He died before I was born, so I can't. But yeah, anyways, this book I definitely recommend if you are a solitary, if you just want kind of some random information, you love Scott Cunningham's works. This is definitely worth getting a copy. So that is going to be it for this review. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patron. I will have their name here. If you'd like to support me on Patreon and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.